Auckland, New Zealand, Tāmaki Makaurau, Aotearoa, a vibrant cosmopolitan city of 1.5 million people, set upon a natural playground of 48 volcanic cones, nestled between two dramatic coastlines. This November, we welcome the world. The Hockey World League Final.
To play those games against the top teams in the world, I think that's what we're really excited about.
It's nice that they're coming to our hometown now and we get to play them here.
Argentina are always fiery. They've got the skill and they've got the potential to rip open any team.
They'll be a good defensive side and they'll just pop one in at the last minute and make you really work for a win.
Be a little bit different having England rather than GB.
They're on the up as well. Obviously, they're the gold medalists from last year. Another European side who know how to play hockey. They pass the ball well, they play a good team game, and they've got a few dangerous strikers up front.
Korea, always a really challenging side. Their basic skills are always really high, and the Dutch, they're like the pinnacle of world hockey. For the crowd, that's amazing to watch. For us, it's actually pretty hard to deal with. The USA have just done really well, actually. They won their World League semi-final, and we know that they're a really fit and physical team.
And the home team, the Vantage Blacksticks.
Obviously, we'll have lots of our own fans there, but to have like other people come over as well, I think that's really awesome.
Our turf, our time.
Our turf, our time.
The Hockey World League Final, November 17 to 26, Auckland, New Zealand. Tickets are on sale now from ticketek.co.nz.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Hockey Stadium, the capital city of Wellington, for the Ford NHL final between North Harbour and Auckland, a classic battle of the bridge. Some would say the two best teams of the tournament here today, playing in front of a pretty boisterous and packed crowd. Chris Crosby here with my right-hand man, Ari Barrows, linked up. The beautiful weather of Wellington, the sun is shining down on the natural amphitheatre of the number one turf. We'd like to welcome in Ari. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, like you said, probably the two best performers. North Harbour men, obviously a very strong team on paper. They started with a hiss and a roar, sort of almost dominated pool play, I guess, winning their pool, and then Auckland, you know, at the start of the campaign, obviously with a disappointing finish, the 2016 Ford NHL, rank outsiders in the TAB, but they've, if anything, that's fired them up, and they've turned up in the capital this week and really put the heat on some teams in pool play. Good wins over Canterbury, Northland and Central to top their pool. And then a win yesterday, 2 late goals against the host Capital, edging them 2-1 in the fourth quarter to qualify for today's big dance. So yeah, like you said, Chris, the sun's shining down. I've got the zinc on, and everything in order for what should be an absolute spectacle of a final for the 2017 Ford NHL.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, isn't it? And this is what these two teams, and I guess the rest of the teams, play for, is to be in the big dance, to showcase their talents in front of a boisterous crowd, but also to a number of people watching at home, on your phones, across the country, and maybe even worldwide. So we welcome in everyone who's tuned in. We'll do our best to analyse and to tear apart this game, and also provide you with some little bit of intel within the teams. Plenty of banter that will go on between these two teams. These guys grow up playing against each other. It's a massive rivalry. The Auckland North Harbour, they start off as wee nippers in the old primary school age group and grow their way through. And today they're playing off in the Ford NHL final, which is, I guess, the pinnacle of hockey within New Zealand and playing off for the Challenge Shield. We've just seen the K Cup won by the Midlands women, and now we go into the Challenge Shield. Auckland having a really impressive run from 2011 through to 2014. We see their captain Aaron Panchia getting some skin from his teammates, captain of a number of those sides through their run of victories, and today they play off for the title. The North Harbour men, first time in the final since 2009, back in Christchurch. Blair Hopping scoring the winner against Capital. Last time they held aloft to the Challenge Shield. So two teams with a lot of history, a lot of passion, and a lot of pride in the jersey. And it's exciting what we're going to see out on the field today.
Cheers, Chris, as we take a look at this North Harbour team. In the 11 jersey, the captain, George Muir, he's certainly one to watch in the midfield. Richard Joyce will start in goal. They've got Kirk Shimmons in the 12 jersey. He's an international guest player from Ireland. He's played in the 14 NHL before, representing the Southern Dogs. A couple of silver medals to his name there for Southern, so he'll be looking to go one better in the maroon and white. And also Broseph Bartholomew at the back, along with Corey Bennett. Pretty big back too. Watch out for that.
Yeah, in the Auckland side, and the illustrious blue and white, led by none other than Aaron Panchia, coming out of the Mount Albert Grammar stable. Some would say highest profile player to come out of Mount Albert Grammar, along with Sonny Bill Williams, and along with his two other brothers within the side, which is a pretty exciting aspect for them. And look out for Marcus Child and wearing the number 20 shirt. He's dangerous, and obviously their goalkeeper Devon Manchester, key ingredient to the Vantage Black Sticks, and it'll be interesting to see if they put him under pressure. The Harbour boys have scored plenty of goals this week. Just looking at the starting lineups, Ari, and it seems that Tiger Turf North Harbour coach Dave Kasuf, well, he's got his phone out as we speak, so he's obviously putting his last sort of Facebook post up before they get into the game. And he's opted to start with Mitch Hayde. It's pretty exciting that someone from the Hatch Cup team can also be playing NHL. So pretty awesome effort from a young kid. And I'm sure that Auckland will be looking to put him under pressure. So it's not every day that you get to play Hatch Cup and NHL in the same year. So good luck to him, and good luck to both teams. From what we saw in the women's final, two teams really going at it, and I'm sure we're going to see the same sort of thing in the men's final today.
Yeah, you're right there, Golds. Mitch Hayde, the apprentice in this North Harbour side. Absolutely swimming in his jersey there, the number 17. So watch out for him. It's good to see they're giving the younger boys a run. As the two teams are just in their final huddles, a few last words of wisdom and encouragement and froth from the captains. As the substitutions head towards the dugout, the playing 11 assume their positions, and we're almost ready to start off this 2017 Ford National League final between North Harbour and Auckland.
And it's good to see a lot of mutual respect out there on the field between these two teams. Handshakes before the game. They probably know each other's games quite a lot. They've played against each other. Every year they play in warm-ups maybe once or twice before they get to NHL, and today they're playing in the final. Operating out of different pools this week. Both topping their pools, the new format, the quarterfinal format. Both teams coming through, and today they play for the Challenge Shield. An exciting time as Mitch Hayde on the ball early as North Harbour attacking.
Ball into the circle there. Too high, striking the Auckland defender.
Ari, you've played against both these teams in sort of recent years. Talk us through, I guess, the way that they play and where you might see some key differences in the teams.
Yeah, certainly, Chris. I think North Harbour have a very strong structurally all around the paddock. You know, they've got that big. They've got Corey Bennett at the back who sort of leads things very well. Then they've got a very good core. You know, they've got the likes of George Muir, Jimmy Coughlin through the centre of the field. As we see a shot at goal from Auckland flying high above the goal for a 16 out. Yeah, so all across the park, North Harbour very dangerous. They can sort of attack from anywhere. And then Auckland, a few of their goals this week have been sort of counter-attack goals. They're very dangerous. They're happy to sit back and win the ball. We saw Ben Radonovich score a good goal against the Canterbury Cavaliers with an intercept and then a good one-on-one finish. And with the likes of Marcus Child and the Panchir boys in there, just expect them to, any loose turnovers, just to completely capitalise on those.
And it's quite interesting when you look at the teams, and if we look at Xavier Guy and Callan Jerem, both players who previously pulled on the blue and white of Auckland, this year decided to give the maroon, white and black a run for their money and picked up an under 21 title. As we see the ball in, Robbie Capizzi on the ball, couldn't quite come away with the goods there. The Harbour under 21 men picking up the gold medal, and as we saw earlier, Kim Kingston feeds Joe Crooks, a known goal scorer. Tackle from Mitch Hayde, probably the only one he'll make all game.
As James Collin carries out a defence for North Harbour. Well diffused. Kirk Shimmons in the middle.
So the North Harbour under 21 men, you know, taking out the title, and the Midlands under 21 men, woman, and NHL woman coming up trump. So could we see a similar scenario? What we have seen earlier today is Harbour just looked to outlet, sort of starting off with a little bit of 3 and 4 at the back as Robbie Capizzi again. Going to be an attacking threat all game for them. Or good feed into the middle. Richmond Lum, another ex-Auckland player. It's interesting to see how many players have shifted from the blue and white across the bridge. Whether it's the cheap housing prices across the Harbour Bridge, or
I think you put a lot of it down to the Mitch Hayde factor, Chris. Obviously, that's a pull and push factor. I think the players leaving Harbour to play for Auckland obviously want nothing to do with them. And then obviously there's a few, I'd suggest, sort of people and teamsy coaches coming across to Harbour, looking to sort of bag a favour where they can.
yeah, and interesting to see that Dave Kasufa's kept him out there. Interesting tactic early on. Normally you put your best team out there, but sometimes you got to take a risk. With what you do is Auckland turn the ball over. Similar to, I guess, the earlier game, both teams, a lot of these guys spend a lot of time getting ready for the game, making sure that they look good. You know, we've talked about Mitch Hayde. He's probably one who spends too much time in front of the mirror, but a lot of these guys have gone in during the week, and some sporting facial hair, some not. You know, they've spruced themselves up, especially for the big dance today. I know Joseph Bartholomew looks as though he's removed a lot of hair from his head before today's game, and maybe that's aerodynamics, maybe that's just his genes or just nerves. But, you know, it's all part of what these guys want to do, and the Auckland guys sporting a bold royal blue as they attack. A great passing movement, and they've got themselves a penalty corner, the first corner of the game, 5 minutes in. Some slick passing, and they'll have what potentially will be the first exciting shot at goal.
And Harbour with 2 good opportunities there. One to Callan Jerem, just struggled to hit the ball in from the spot. And then also Robbie Capizzi diving in there. But Auckland have done well. They've come down the other end. The first real good field territory they've had it so far. Just 5 minutes in here to this 14 NHL final. And with their first circle entry, they've earned themselves a penalty corner. And it's run down by George Muir. He's quick out of the gate, but Auckland maintain position and a mistrap over the baseline. Sees Harbour defend very well. Yeah, George Muir, Chris, he's quick out of the blocks, running straight in the line of that one. And he's not a bad man to have back there.
Yeah, I think the defensive corner setup for both teams is going to be vitally important. Auckland looking to exploit through the international guest player Johnny Kinder, and we all know the exploits of Corey Bennett at penalty corner time for North Harbour. So, you know, look for the defence to be really on point. A lot of video would have been done as Auckland attacking shot at goal. They appeal for a penalty corner and it's given. Quite rightly so.
We go to the replay here, Chris. Crash ball from the right side baseline. Pops up in a wee shot goal, but it strikes the North Harbour defender on the foot. And a short corner awarded.
Simon Taylor officiating in the orange attire along with Dave Tomlinson, two of the best umpires we've got in the country, and quite rightly so. They're in charge of the biggest game in the 14HL this year. Marcus Childs steadies himself for the drag out.
It's flicked wide.
Flicked wide by Hamish McGeorge. Richard Joyce, he's a mammoth in the goal, isn't he? Takes up a lot of the frame, and happy to see that one go wide.
He certainly is, Chris. He's a big rig. A lot of coverage. And he had that fairly well covered. The ball just missing the goal there.
We see Joe Bartholomew onto the field, Ari, and playing for the Harbour team. Currently residing down in Christchurch. Obviously, we get to see a lot of him playing club hockey, and me oh my, he plays a fantastic brand of hockey down there. Similar to you, I guess, and he doesn't like to mark. He's very dangerous on the counter. And I think he's going to be a key asset to North Harbour as Joe Crooks, picks it up inside the attacking zone, and that man, Joe Bartholomew, 021 Broseph, as he's like to be known. Follow him on Instagram. Jimmy Coughlin is sort of checked and slowed down.
Fairly agricultural tackle there from Kingston. I think James Coughlin sort of suggesting the umpire dig into his back pocket there and send him, but still early doors, just a firm blow of the whistle. As Harbour had position over on the far left-hand side. It's Jerome on the ball.
Just had a text in, just pronunciation. Jerome it is. Which is good. We apologise if we get any of the names wrong. Matt Simons on the ball. I think you'll find that Matt Simons, a couple of years ago, was part of the Capital Cobras team who picked up the NHL title. So he's got experience within this game, within this match, within this final structure. Now applying his trade up in the North Island, the higher north. Deciding to play for North Harbour, and another good ball. Michael Ritchie picks up the ball and he's dangerous. Another good save by Richard Joyce, and Kim Kingston with the follow-up.
Great scramble D there from Harbour and Richard Joyce.
I tell you what, Ari, some animation from the Auckland bench. Some serious animation. Would hate to be at ground level down there. Kevin Towns, the manager, just making sure that everything's all right. That's what you want to see, some passion. You want to see some pride in what they're doing, and that's certainly what we've seen. You can see Simon Child up on the hill there. Obviously a key player for the Vantage Black Six, and played many a year for the Auckland NHL team. Unfortunately injured, but giving the coaching role a bit of a crack this year, and doing pretty well for himself. So
We see the ball turned over in midfield to Radonovic. We scramble, change of position a couple of times there, but in the end, the North Harbour free hit out. A couple of good scramble defensive manoeuvres from Harbour so far, with a big clear and overhead to Shimmons, who's won himself a free hit. Panchia there struggling to remove himself from the 5 metre zone. Free hit outside North Harbour, George Muir on the ball. The ball down the baseline to the spot. But there was the Auckland defender who just calmly trapped the ball there and cleared nicely. A couple of good opportunities for Harbour early on, Chris, struggling to sort of capitalise on them, getting in front of them and men in their circle.
Yeah, I think Dave Kasuf will be pretty happy with the way that his Harbour Wolves have started off. Slight mistrap there from Joseph I Wear Pink Shoes Bartholomew. A very even split of the game, and I think it's to be expected. Both teams sort of looking like they're operating with a back four structure and getting the ball into the midfield where they've got some key players, as Kim Kingston looks to eliminate and does pretty well in that.
That's right, Chris. And both sides happy to sort of sit back in a deep three-quarter, almost a half-court press. You know, letting the opposition have the ball at the back, and we just see an error there from Panchia as he misstrips over the sideline. A chance here for Harbour. And it's cleared well by Auckland. Out through Radonovic on the far side. And that's picked up well by Bennett. And shuffled around the back. Here's Capizzi.
He's been good early on, Ari, and you probably know a little bit more about him than me. He's been a really good youngster coming through the grades, hasn't he?
Yeah, very talented player there, Chris. He's a natural goal scorer, pretty good in and around those sort of close areas around the goal mouth. Like we saw in the Women's K-Cup final, those sort of goals. But alongside that, Chris, he's very fast. He's a smart player. He sort of gets himself in the right positions. Defensively, he's good on the press, sort of always hassling the opposition defenders. And then, yeah, like I alluded to, when his team's got the ball, he often finds himself on the back post, on the penalty spot, in those good positions, stick on the ground. And he gets a few goals. I think he had a pretty good week last year, 12 months ago, 14 NHL. I think he got about 9 or 10 goals himself in his debut year.
It's Daniel Pancher on the ball there, number 16, and he's obviously joined in the lineup by brothers Jared, number 10, and Aaron, number 6. Aaron leading the side, wearing the captain's armband. Similar to my one, it's a small one. Obviously not the biggest guy going round, but for a guy his size, he's got one hell of a hit. The upright hit is a facet of his game that he loves and he will utilise. Jared just unfortunately uses the Cristiano Ronaldo tactic of kicking the ball, and it's not allowed in hockey. Daniel Harris taking the ball into the circle, but dispossessed very well. Keep the feedback rolling in on the live stream. We're happy to take any questions, or if you've got any feedback. Obviously Ari's pretty experienced at what he does, so he's pretty confident in his abilities, but there's always room for improvement, especially in his, if anyone was watching the live stream last night, areas to improve. But from what we've seen early on, a minute to go in this first quarter, very even match, Ari. Where can you see the first goal coming from?
Oh, I think if North Harbour can convert a few of these sort of circle entries into results, I think if they can get themselves a penalty corner. We see Radonovic scores. Ben Radonovich, he had a couple of goes at it. Richard Joyce saving the first one, but he jumped on his leftovers and struck the ball into the backboard, and he's been doing that all week as the chant goes up from the fans, the Benjamin Rado. And his side will be very happy with that, Chris. That's where the first goal is probably going to come from. I'd suggest. Thanks, mate.
He's got an eye for goal, Ben Rado. He really does. And as the Auckland boys huddle up and just make sure they finish off this quarter well, a good finish, sort of third time lucky. If you don't succeed at first, try again. And that's what he did. So you got to commend him. And I think I saw his old man floating around earlier today, so he'll be pretty happy with that, even though he's wearing colours that might not be of what he appreciates. And Joe Crooks finds a bit of space. He just needs a little bit more speed. Get those sort of small legs moving, and Joe Crooks is probably one of the guys who definitely went into the barbershop midweek. He's running a pretty solid short back and sides.
As you what, Chris, that wouldn't be out of place in the capital team at all. You see an overhead into the circle. Danger is the call from Simon Taylor. And that will end the first quarter here in the 2017 Ford National Hockey League men's final between North Harbour and Auckland. Auckland taking the 1-goal lead into the quarter break. Benjamin Rado getting on the end of some loose ball. He had a few goes at it, Chris, but in the end it's just that it hits the back of the net. That's all that counts, isn't it? So Auckland taking a 1-0 lead, and you have to suggest they'd be pretty happy with that, given the amount of times Harbour have been down their end.
Yeah, if we look at the two huddles as we speak, Dave Cassou very animated, telling his troops exactly what he thought of that first 15 minutes, and quite rightly so. You want a little bit of instruction after the first 15. Definitely an even matched game, Ari. I think both teams will be relatively comfortable about the way that they're playing. I think both teams are expressing themselves. You can see a few of the Auckland guys still in their hoodies. A lot of the Harbour guys have been rolling on and off, and I think the Auckland guys probably not using as many of their bench as the Harbour guys. Will that come into effect later into the game? It'll be interesting to see. We've obviously got ball boys speeding up the game. The pace of the game is something that I think Harbour will want to pounce on. They want to utilise. But for a first quarter, for an NHL final, for the chance to play for the Challenge Shield, I think both teams will be pretty comfortable with the way they're playing, and they know each other's games very, very well. They've played against each other on numerous occasions, and the first quarter's down, the nerves are out, they're ready to express themselves, and we're in for an exciting second quarter, no doubt.
That's right, Chris. I think, if Auckland had taken that opportunity, you probably would have said that North Harbour had the better of that quarter. So certainly the game's still right on the balance, only 15 minutes down as we see North Harbour attack down the right-hand flank. That's Mitch Hayde on the ball. And that attempted crash ball deflected out over the baseline for a long corner. Hayde pushed off the ball by Coughlin.
Yeah, and that's probably something that's going to happen quite often. The Harbour guys pushing Mitch off the ball. You don't want him holding on to it for too long. James Coughlin, he's going to be a key man for the maroon and white. Benji Andrews looks to play expansively, but Ben Rado, again, right place, right time.
He certainly takes after his father there, Chris. Ben Rado, just sort of popping up in niggly places for the opposition. I think with that goal, I think John probably would have liked to think he would have struck that home the first time and not had sort of 3 goes at it like his son did. But it went in, and he's given his side the lead as North Harbour break through Coughlin. Bit of an agricultural tackle. They go again, and a good tackle down there. And a foot inside the circle for an Auckland free hit out.
As we see the number 15 of Auckland, JP Rousseau on the field. Actually a North Harbour man, played in many of North Harbour team, and this year missed out on the NHL side and floated his way across the bridge and pulled on the blue and white. Another one of those transfers that we see, maybe the Mitch Hayde factor again, but he's played well, especially similar to Bartholomew. And here we go with Jared Panchia taking the shot. Similar to Joe Bartholomew, running the pink shoe option with the sort of reddy pink stick as well. Quite a nice combination from JP there. He'll know these Harbour boys really well, and I'm sure he'll be keen to get one over them. Be happy that they're holding on to a 1-0 lead. Keaton Hari, number 4 for Auckland. Very experienced guy for still quite young. Sort of maybe at the 24, 25 age as Daniel Harris has the ball inside the circle but can't quite come away with it. Coming out of the Auckland Grammar stable, Keaton Hari, and winner of a number of ranking cups and NHLs. Say valuable experience from the likes of Keaton, and Aaron Panchio's come in with a sort of shoulder first tackle there.
We see Harbour starting to mount some pressure, Chris. Dylan Stevenson with the crash ball out for a long corner. We've got 2 balls on. We'll just clear one of those. Matt Simons on the ball, gives it to Coughlin. Good. And a wee free hit outside. A few complaints about the ball getting hit away there, but not sure there was anything in that at all. And this Auckland circle defence, Chris, pretty sharp so far. No, obviously they'll be well aware of the dual TC threat of Bennett and Bartholomew. Obviously they don't want to give away too many penalty corners, and they've done so well so far, so they'll be looking to maintain that.
Yeah, Corey Bennett, a real threat at penalty corner time. The North Harbour boys like to call him Corosaurus. Just a little wee nickname for him there. And as we see Mitch Hayde promoting himself nice and high, receiving the ball, and he's mistrapped it. It's unfortunate for him. Guess there's a lot of pressure. Mitch Hayde actually, having played in back-to-back NHL finals, the only one out on the field to do so, having played last year for the Canterbury Cavaliers, this year for the North Harbour Wolves, and unfortunately for him, never having come out on top. Interesting to see how this game plays out and whether or not, you know, he's a lucky charm or a bit of a hindrance for the side. Auckland stacked with NHL experience, stacked with NHL winning experience. Ari, you've played in 2 NHL finals yourself. What are these guys, you know, thinking about as the game wears on, and the pressure, the closeness of the game? What's it like to be out there on the field and just soaking it all up?
Yeah, it's pretty special, Chris. Obviously, you know, usually if you've come so far to play an NHL final, hopefully you've played it in a final beforehand, and it's, I mean, obviously there's added pressure at being the pinnacle of the New Zealand sort of domestic hockey league. But I think once that game starts, you know, you sort of lose yourself in the game. You know, there's obviously pressure from the crowd and whatnot, but you just soak that up. You know, it's almost like a school hockey atmosphere. And you know, obviously some boys, well, men and women, you know, sort of that sort of fires them up and keeps them focused. And then obviously, you know, some people sort of crumble under that pressure, which you suggested Mitch Hayde did over there in the far corner. So yeah, I think it's just about sort of soaking it up, and it's important to make sure you don't forget to enjoy the moment, because there's a lot of good hockey players that don't get to play in these sort of matches, so you've got to enjoy yourself.
As Harbour continue to pile on the pressure, you'd probably say that they've had more sort of threatening attacks, more possession of the ball, especially in the attacking half.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Chris, as they come up the right, but mistrapped over for a 16, and they've favoured this right side flank. I think Mitch Hayes sort of found his way out to left half. So the message is, let's shift the ball right, and sort of, you just sort of tuck out and cover defend there, Mitchell, and we'll let the big boys handle it kind of thing. As we see Kim Kingston with the ball on the close sideline here on the left-hand side. He just recycles back to his captain.
And as we see Broseph Bartholomew injecting himself into the game. A key man for Tiger Turf North Harbour. I think he needs to spend more time on the field if he wants to be a presence. If we can get that message down to Dave Kassouf. Get Bartholomew on the ball, get him on the field, and let him inject himself as Warren Wild looks good through the middle of the field, and Harbour attack once again.
Matt Simons finding Dan Harris, and Coghlan down on the baseline, but well defended again. That Auckland circle defence, exceptional. Out for a long corner.
Aaron Pancher on all fours there.
And a penalty corner awarded to North Harbour. Ball sort of popped up. Cleared dangerously into an Auckland attacking player as Joe Bartholomew. So that's the quickest he's moved. He sprints over to Kassouf for the call. I think we definitely heard some sort of variation, but will make his way to the huddle to say, straight flick Joe Bartholomew.
No, I think Dave has quickly said to him, if you've sprinted to me and sprinted to the huddle, there's no way that you're going to be in a state to be able to flick the ball. So we'll give this one to Corey. As you can see, Joe striding back to halfway.
Overruled there in the huddle, probably rightly so. So you'd expect a straight dig first up, Chris.
Corey Bennett, low left.
And it struck the first runner. There was a penalty corner advantage, but the ball falling to the North Harbour attacker, but the reverse stick shot flies over the crossbar. And you'd have to suggest that Auckland off the hook a little bit there, and the player's gone down there. I think that was the runner. Is that Kim Kingston?
So talk us through that scenario, Ari. You've earned yourself another penalty corner. It's come off the first runner's foot. You probably don't have the best chance, but you take and have a crack. You know, what are your thoughts on maybe just sort of going, nah, let's take the corner and reset and let Korosaurus have a dig?
I think it's hard, Chris, you know, from up where we are and from the stands and from everyone viewing at home, it's certainly easier to think, you know, don't shoot from there, mate, just sort of take that penalty advantage. But when you're out there in the moment, you got loose toe in the circle, especially on the reverse, which is just so favoured by these young men. I think you're going to wind up every time. You know, I know sort of, it's not often someone sort of just stops the ball and says, no thanks, mate, would rather a PC. But, you know, with Bennett on the field, you'd have to suggest with quite a tough shot on that reverse stick, that probably was the smarter option, Chris. Marcus Child just recovers in the midfield for Auckland, just sort of steadying the ship.
And if my memory serves me correctly, Ari, the last time that NHL was played in Wellington, we had a controversial sharing of the title between Auckland and Central. Bit of rain, bit of hail, bit of snow, bit of everything. Didn't allow the game to be finished, and Central and Auckland had to share the title. So I'm sure these boys wearing the blue and white will be keen to do all they can to make sure that they're the ones carrying the Challenge Shield home and not having to sort of cut it down the middle and have half go away from them.
That's right, Chris. Exactly right, as we see Harbour persisting with that left-hand side attack. But Pancher and Co at the back there just cleaning up, winning themselves a sideline hit. So we're into the final 5 minutes of the first half, Chris. Probably have to say Harbour with more opportunities in the second quarter, unable to convert. They obviously had one PC, as we see Joe Bartholomew with a good flat stick tackle. Got to get the ball off the ground there because he's just going to plant every day.
Yeah, he loves the long barrier. It's you'd think the guy is a good cricketer, which he's not, but he does enjoy long barring. As Kirk Shimmons, the international guest player from Ireland, goes for an injection, and Bartholomew on the ball again. So some bright pink shoes there, Ari. Sort of contrasting to the maroon and black, but I quite like what he's done with his outfit. Obviously complements the sort of shaven / receding hairline.
Yeah, I think it is to detract from that lid, Chris. Obviously, you look at Joe, and you are drawn to the shoes. And away from that lid, he's sort of running the reverse lomu, is what I'd call it. A massive receder, but also the bald spot. It's the bald spot receder, and it's not flash. So yeah, I think he's nailed it. I think you pick your brightest pair of shoes, you put them on, and then just hope people don't notice the lid you're running.
Again, North Harbour on attack. They spent a lot of time in the attacking half. If you've just joined us, we're still at 1-0 to Auckland. A Ben Radovinic goal. It's been an entertaining clash, I will give it that. And Mitch Hayde, he's made his second trap of the game. It's pretty good from him. Feeds it off, and Harbour continue to attack. You can see Kasufi stomping in his Timberlands on the sideline. He's itching. I think he'd be happy with what is happening, except for, I guess, that sort of final part of the game, which is executing in front of goal. And Ari, as we know as much as anyone, you've got to convert in front of goal if you want to win games.
That's exactly right, Chris. You can have all the opportunities in the world, but in the end, the game's decided on that scoreboard, and it doesn't matter how many times you get in there, you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And so far, Harbour, with by far more opportunities, have struggled to do that. In Auckland, they've only probably had the one or two chances, and Ben Ratto just jumping on it. And I think that kind of sums it up. If you're in that circuit, you got to be hungry, and that ball falls to you, even if you have to have 3 digs at it, like young Ben did. You've got to get that ball going towards goal and then hopefully in the back of the net.
As Auckland look to attack, and James Coughlin stifles that. And Jerem on the attack, MVP of the Under-21 tournament. Look out for him, especially in the second half. He's got an eye for goal, and he will put the ball in the back of the net if given the opportunity.
Here's Dan Harris having a dart towards the circle. Ball in, well defended by Auckland. And they clear through. Kinder. Again, just happy to, no nonsense, Chris. Just hit it down the other end, relieve the pressure again, this sort of deep half-court press. Trying to congest the space in their half, just letting Joe on the ball. Letting him sort of pick a long pass like he's done there. That's the kid out there. Will he trap that? Oh, it's well sort of, that's Kinder out there again, I think.
I think, the way that Auckland are playing, they know that Broseph and Korosaurus are going to overhead the ball. And so they're condensing that area and trying to make it difficult for them to get balls in as they look to attack and get a penalty corner. Is a good addition to the Harbour attack. And they'll high five and slap and make sure that this one is a good attempt on goal.
Joe Bartholomew again running over for the call. Perhaps a little bit more sluggish running back out towards the huddle. I don't know if that suggests, Chris, that there might be him flicking, sort of preserve a bit of energy as he runs back in. And there's a bit of deliberation here about the call. So the two umpires are going to get together and have a wee chat about it. And the two umpires happy with the original call. And we will play the North Harbour attacking penalty corner. Only 48 seconds to go here in the first half. And you think, Chris, here, this is a golden opportunity, get the tails up heading into the sheds, 1-1. Momentum fully on your side, and it's the kid injecting. I'm not sure if that's some sort of...
We've got a penalty corner here right now. Break.
And it's flicked in by Corey Bennett.
A bang!
Top right.
Tap, 1, 2, a bang.
Well executed. Mitchell with an accurate injection. George Muir with the trap, and Corey Bennett, he goes high to the glove side of Manchester, right into the side, meaning postman, really nothing you can do there. And that is a massive moment in this first half. With less than a minute to go, North Harbour have equalised through Corey Bennett.
I just want to make it a 40, so I just pay for my night. Against you, obviously. Oh, yeah. Harbour won. Auckland is shit. We should have bet them and we would have won the game. Yes? They must do something well. I know.
I said Auckland 3-1. That's who he's got the money on with.
There are microphones just scattered around the ground, just making sure they get a lot of atmosphere. So if you do hear some comments outside of what we're doing, is obviously some people talking about different things and obviously watching this game and seeing how it all unfolds. So we're 10 seconds away from half time, and I'm sure both teams are going to regroup. Ari, I'll tell you what, 1-1 going into half time. I think it's a fair reflection of what we've seen over the past 30 minutes of hockey.
Yeah, I think you're right with that, Chris. Perhaps North Harbour with the larger quantity of opportunities. But Auckland's first opportunity through Ben Radonovich, well taken, giving his side the early lead, and we just saw there in the final minute. The penalty quarter awarded. There was deliberation about it, Chris, but the call stuck. And Corey Bennett with a well taken drag flick into the top right side netting. A perfect example, really, of what you're looking for. So we're going to take a short break here, live from the National Hockey Stadium here in the capital, Wellington, for the men's Ford NHL final between Auckland and Harbour. Heading into the break, the score's tied 1-1.
In a high-risk environment, you need a teammate who never takes their eye off the ball. So we've got the Black Sticks to put Ford's driver assist technology to the ultimate test.
Is that a little bit close to the wall?
Nah, this will be easy.
We've got it, for sure. Should we do it?
Yeah.
Let's go. I reckon we got this. Radio girls, back her out.
While the Black Sticks are focused on reaching their goal, Ford Driver Assist is on defence, helping read what's going on around them with Bliss blind spot detection. And adaptive cruise control, helping maintain a safe following distance from the car ahead. And when someone brakes suddenly, City Safe brakes automatically, helping you to stop in your tracks.
Was the braking a bit scary for you girls? Crazy.
Trust Ford Driver Assist to help you stay in control.
I'm glad we didn't have to go over that.
Auckland, New Zealand, Tāmaki Makaurau, Aotearoa, a vibrant cosmopolitan city of 1.5 million people, set upon a natural playground of 48 volcanic cones, nestled between two dramatic coastlines. This November, we welcome the world, the Hockey World League Final.
To play those games against the top teams in the world, I think that's what we're really excited about.
It's nice that they're coming to our hometown now and we get to play them here.
Argentina are always fiery. They've got the skill and they've got the potential to rip open any team.
They'll be a good defensive side and they'll just pop one in at the last minute and make you really work for a win.
Be a little bit different having England rather than GB.
They're on the up as well. Obviously, they're the gold medalists from last year. Another European side who know how to play hockey. They pass the ball well, they play a good team game, and they've got a few dangerous strikers up front.
Korea, always a really challenging side. Their basic skills are always really high, and the Dutch, they're like the pinnacle of world hockey. For the crowd, that's amazing to watch. For us, it's actually pretty hard to deal with. The USA have just done really well, actually. They won their World League semi-final, and we know that they're a really fit and physical team.
And the home team, the Vantage Blacksticks.
Obviously, we'll have lots of our own fans there, but to have like other people come over as well, I think that's really awesome.
Our turf, our time.
Our turf, our time.
The Hockey World League Final, November 17 to 26, Auckland, New Zealand. Tickets are on sale now from ticketek.co.nz.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the men's final of the Ford NHL, that is the National Hockey League for 2017. Auckland and North Harbour, as you see here on your screens. Auckland making their way out from the sheds. And if you're just joining us, the score here at halftime, 1-1 between the two sides. The score is opened by Auckland through Ben Radonovich. He found his way in close to the goal. He had a couple of goes at it, a couple of first up saves from Joyce, and then third time lucky for the kid finding the backboard to give Auckland the lead. And then just prior to the break, in the final minute actually, we saw North Harbour awarded a penalty corner where Corey Bennett, with a well executed drag flick, finding the sort of high right side netting. Beating Manchester, glove side, with the left postman unable to do anything about it. So we're still 2.5 minutes away from the start of our third quarter, start of the second half. So we just see the Harbour sort of starting 11 and a huddle out in the middle of the turf, and I suggest they'll have some clear words coming from their skipper George Muir-Chris. Just few key points, maintaining focus. I think they'll be happy with their work so far. I think they would have liked a lead going into the halftime break, but they've certainly created more opportunities than Auckland have, I think it's fair to say. And I think the message will be it's going to come.
Yeah, I think I said at half-time maybe 1-0 was a fair reflection, but you're probably right. I think Harbour have had the majority of the possession in the attacks, but I think both teams have been pretty good in defence, and definitely Auckland have done a lot more defending. So it's it's good to see, but I think this game's going to definitely open up in the next 2 quarters, and we'll see what that brings. Intrigued to see a few comments coming through on the text machine. Some back flaps. Hoping to see some of them. A couple of viewers. So we'll see if that can eventuate from either side. But the Battle of the Bridge is locked up at 1-1, and the third quarter is always an important quarter, Ari. You've taken a 10-minute break. You've come back out onto the field. The sun sort of etched its way behind the clouds, and Brad Shaw and the Cavaliers are looking on, along with all the other teams, on the penultimate game of the 14HL for 2017. Jared Panchia going to start things off. Ari, if you're going to pick a winner from here, 20 seconds to go until we start, who would you go with?
It's hard, Chris. Obviously being a Canterbury man myself, wouldn't really want it to be the team, but I think just based off those first 2 quarters, I think I'd have to slightly go to Harbour. I think they've created a few more opportunities, and I think certainly if they can win a few more penalty corners and unleash Corey, maybe even Joseph Bartholomew, they may just quite edge Auckland. But Auckland's still creating enough chances themselves to get it done as we head off an Auckland attack up the right.
Yeah, how good is this, NHL final? You've got people watching from all parts of the country, all parts of the world. I'm sure there's a few people back in Ireland watching Kirk Simmons on the ball as he attacks into the 25. And George Muir, the captain of North Harbour, he's been instrumental. Gets himself into the circle and plays his way into Aaron Panchia's stick. Looks as though. A few chuckles between the two. They've played a lot of games between themselves in the Vantage Black Sticks, and I think if it hit Aaron's foot, he would have been happy with that, and if it didn't, they'll set up and be ready for what's coming as the overhead goes into Mitch Hayde, who's made his 3rd trap of the game. It's pretty good from him. And the wee cover drive. Not a bad sort of front foot towards the ball as Capizzi on the ball again. Inside the circle, but Auckland do well.
Here's Simmons around the left baseline. Panchia just sort of let Simmons run into him, and the ball goes out for a Harbour long corner, with George Muir looking to get on the ball.
And for those of you that had tuned in sort of earlier, in the 3rd quarter a few games ago was sort of focused in on the election, I think we're no better off on the good about what's going on with that. So as North Harbour, great save by Devon Manchester. I'm sure Devon Manchester will remember fondly of playing on this turf back in 2005, Ari, with the King's College first 11 Rankin Cup winners. Himself putting in a pretty impressive display, I think, in the 3 matches that they played. Quarterfinal, semi-final, final, didn't concede a goal. And a lot of that can be attributed to what he did in the goal. So him along with Marcus Child, both involved in that team, they'll have fond memories of that. And they're a little bit older, a little bit uglier, and a little bit more facial hair now as they play in an NHL final as Auckland attack. And Marcus Child hovers on the ball.
Good crash ball in, Chris, but out for a long corner. Coverage there by Joyce, that's not going to trouble him. Child on the ball again. Back to Gibbons. Here's the captain Petcher with an upright hit. Finds its way to the man in the spot. Cleared off the goalie and dangerous for a penalty corner, North Harbour. Auckland, sorry, should I say. There's a good crash ball there from Aaron Petcher, the skipper. A deflection up into Joyce, who was unable to control it, and then the rebound dangerously into an attacking Auckland player. So a penalty corner awarded. And you'd have to say, Chris, first real opportunity of the third quarter of the second half to Auckland.
Yeah, I think Auckland have really come out in this third quarter and decided to really take it to North Harbour, and here they go. Opted for the variation, which didn't quite come off, but they're still in the attacking zones, and Aaron Petcher with a reverse stick. Well defended there by Matt Simons.
Yeah, there's a few squeals from Ben Radonovich there. Felt a bit hard done by there, pushed off the ball, but by Simon Taylor not having a bar of it. As Auckland attack on the left edge through Kinder, who puts it across the face. Joyce up to the task, stepping out, clearing the ball over the baseline for a long corner. Auckland will be happy with the start, only 4 minutes into the third quarter. And after defusing a couple of wee attacks there from Harbour, they're back up the right end. As that crash ball there, unable to find its target from Petcher. And Bennett's probably a failed overhead there, gives position back to Auckland through Jared Petcher to his brother. Looking to link up again, but the ball just travelling over the baseline there for a North Harbour 16-yard hit.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they've got to get Joe Bartholomew back on the field for North Harbour.
Certainly, Chris, they do. And just for our viewers at home, if you've just joined us, we apologise. The wind whistling you're probably picking up from our microphones. The comm box still under construction here at National Hockey Stadium in Wellington, and we're up on the embankment out of the car boot here. So, in this sort of embankment enclosed hockey turf, the wind sort of swirls around it. Here's Child.
Marcus Child, originating from Alfriston, wee suburb in South Auckland, producing some classy hockey players, Ari. Some of the best going round, and obviously his brother Simon is not a bad player, and the older brother Jeremy. So 3 out of the one stable in Alfriston, and many others coming out of that place, and good to see them, you know, still playing the game and still providing for Auckland here. It's interesting to see a number of players playing today, as Cam Gibbons gives a nice one-touch pass, and Daniel Petcher puts it into the mixer. Richard Joyce up to the task. A lot of players here having played for many different regions, played NHL or under-21s for different teams. We've talked about Mitch Hades in his first year playing for North Harbour, having played 100 games for the Canterbury Cavaliers. Daniel Harris confronting Daniel Petcher there. He's played for Wellington or Capital. We've talked about, you know, a number of guys who have played for Auckland now playing for Harbour, and Harbour players now playing for Auckland. Ben Ratto coming from Christchurch. It's actually really good to see that guys can fit into different teams and cultures and be able to establish themselves in those teams, and especially today where they're playing off for the Challenge Shield, which, as we've already talked about, the pinnacle of hockey in New Zealand.
That's right, Chris. There's obviously a pretty well-run transfer window that operates amongst New Zealand hockey. Yeah, a lot of players sort of playing for dual regions, sometimes even 3 regions. I know Ben Ratto's been well around the traps. I played alongside him for the Southern Dogs. I think he's had other stints as well with some other North Island teams, so he's sort of one he'll play where he can get a gig. As we see Auckland sort of persisting with that crash ball, and it falls to Jared Petcher, who puts it through to Crooks across, and in the goal. It was messy, but it counts. As the Auckland boys hug right in front of Joyce. sort of come from nothing, Chris. A crash ball that Jared Panchia got on the end of as we have a look at the replay. Crooks put it across the face of the goal. Panchia with a wee one-time, almost cricket drive. And I'm not sure who got the final touch there, Chris, but they all count, don't they? And Auckland take the lead halfway through this third quarter, leading North Harbour 2-1.
Yeah, it looked as though Jared Panchia put the shot on target, whether or not he put it onto a North Harbour stick or a foot or someone else got a touch in front of goal, but a well-crafted goal. Joe Crooks, a vital ingredient there, just getting the ball and moving it on straight away. I know plenty of other strikers that would have received that and tried to shoot at goal, but not Joey Crooks. He knows what he needs to do when he's in that attacking circle, and Auckland come back in and attack, but to no avail. So they take the lead with 7 minutes to go in this third quarter. If we go back to that sort of transfer window and players jotting around, is it because they get the better deal? Is it because they get the better coaching? Is it because they get the better kit? Or, you know, why are these guys chopping and changing and playing across different regions or teams when they could steady themselves and, you know, just stay loyal to where they came from?
Well, that's a trade-off, I think, Chris, as we see Ben Redder with the ball in the circle. Dispossessed, though, by Edwards, who clears. And Mitch Hay with the clearance to Lum, who's held onto the ball as Harbour maintain position. Yeah, look, Chris, I think it's a trade-off, you know. You either sort of stay loyal to your roots and try to work your way out through your given region, or you sort of get in that draft process and just try to play where you can sort of get a gig. I think obviously, as we see here, quite a few players out there who play for both regions. I think obviously the beauty with Auckland and North Harbour, just been a bridge away, is that it's pretty easy for the admin as Mitch Hayde loses the ball. Michael Ritchie loses control down the right flank with Harbour back on the ball. Corey Bennett with a good ball down the line, but no lead from his striker as he holds his hand up and the ball travels out, and Cam Gibbons will get us back underway with a 16-yard hit. It's Panchia on the ball.
We haven't actually seen Aaron sort of use the long handle upright hit that often today. Probably something he'll look to do as he etches his way into the final 20 minutes of the game. So we see his brother Jared carrying the ball. Good control. Some would say some of the silkiest skills within the Vantage Blackstick setup, as his other brother Daniel is on the ball. It's not often that you get three brothers in a team, Mari, and they connect very well. They just know, they don't talk to each other, they just sense what's going on, and they're able to run off each other. They've grown up playing. I remember seeing Jared and Daniel when I got the privilege to play alongside Aaron, and half time before the game, after the game, Jared and Daniel were there hitting balls at the goal, learning their craft, and they were probably 4, 5, 6 years old. And look at them now. Growing men throwing themselves around an NHL final and doing all they can to keep Auckland in front, which they are with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Schumann's out there under a lot of pressure on the right flank, but he's won the free hit and he carries forward nicely. So under pressure, he does recycle back to his wing half, and the ball back to Corey Bennett at the back, who gives it to his brother, 0-2-1 Broseph.
It's good to see Kim Kingston back on the field as well after taking that injury. Another man coming out of the Alfriston stable. As I said earlier, an area where they produce a lot of good hockey players, and I'm sure his brother, if he's not here, will be watching at home. As Cam Gibbons hit the balls over the sideline, and Harbour look to inject themselves as they look to find an equaliser. Where's the Harbour goal going to come from if they want to equalise, Ari?
Look, I think they've had only 1 or 2 penalty corners, Chris, and I think when they're getting into these sort of deeper areas around the baseline, they need to be thinking PC. I mean, obviously, if there is a viable goal-scoring opportunity, shot option on, by all means take it, but when they're sort of around from the baseline, you know, you're not going to beat Manchester from there. They've got to be thinking, you know, rushing in defenders. We've got to put the ball on the foot. You know, let Corey go 2 from 2. And saying that, though, with guys like Capizzi, Richmond Lum up there, and Jimmy Coughlin nipping away, they can still score a field goal as we see Crooks carry the ball for Auckland. He gives it to Kingston. And an agricultural tackle, but no problem with it from the referee, and he's awarded a long corner.
Am I right to say there's been no cards in this game so far, Ari?
Too right, mate.
So we're either seeing good tackling or good refereeing or both.
I think it's a little bit of both, Chris. I mean, perhaps if you're getting nitpicky, there could have possibly been 1 or 2 greens earlier on, but you know, the refs want to encourage good, positive, free-flowing hockey, and I think they've done that well. You know, just they've been firm, they've been consistent, and by just consistently sending players to the bin, sort of reduces the flow of the game. And I think they've so far anyway officiated this game very well as we enter the last 2 minutes of the third quarter here.
And I think these two teams have set a really good example about how to play the game. We've seen it in the women's final, and we're seeing it again here, that both teams are trying to attack, both teams are trying to play hockey. And that's what you want, especially in a final. There's going to be some tight bodies, but I think these boys are fit enough to be able to cope. And you know, the likes of, you see, you know, Marcus Child going head-to-head with Coughlin or Jared Panchier in the middle there. You know, these guys, this is what they play the game for, is these moments, and not a lot of time left on the clock as Auckland again try and punch through and continue to put the pressure on Harbour. Probably more so than they did in the first half, Ari, which is good to see. Maybe a sort of game of 2 halves, if you could.
Not wrong, Chris, as we see Shimmers down the left. But Aaron Panchier with good coverage there, cuts in front of him and just shadows the ball over the baseline. Nothing amounting from that attack there from Shimmons as he see an Auckland 16-yard hit. Yeah, I think Auckland have really stepped up their game, Chris, in the second half. They've sort of maintained their positive approach to their attack. They've promoted players forward, and obviously they've reaped the benefits there, finding their second goal as we enter the last 40 seconds of the half. The ball down to Muir. Can he create anything here? 30 seconds on the clock. He's in the circle, and a good tackle there by Aaron Panchier over the baseline for a long corner. 20 seconds on the clock. Harbour looking to get this ball in. See if they can win a wee penalty corner to finish off the third quarter. But it's well intercepted there by, that's Kinder out there, and he's got 13 seconds and he'll have a go himself. Auckland men steaming forward as Kinder comes through the inside left channel. Offloaded to Michael Ritchie. And he's found a penalty corner with 3 seconds left on the clock.
Wowee. Me oh my, Auckland would have enjoyed that.
I'll tell you what, that Chris, that's fantastic. You know, it would have been easier to sat back, just cleared that ball, gone for the 2-minute intermission. Happy to be winning the 2-1 lead, but Kinder just promoting himself forward, and you saw the likes of you know, Joe Crooks and co storming forward ahead of the ball, and you know they've reaped the reward there because they've been awarded a penalty corner with 3 seconds left in this third quarter.
See here, I think you need to get your defenders up because the time's gone. And Aaron with the reverse and saved, still in. Michael Ritchie is going to keep the ball in play, and it's going to be another penalty corner, which James Coughlin is not too happy about. Neither is George Muir and neither is Joe Bartholomew. A little bit of a committee meeting there. They're going to discuss what happened. No, they're walking back. They're happy with that. And they're going to say, right, boys, let's stifle this last corner and let's get into the huddle. And let's think about what we can do to get ourselves back on level terms. Here we go, Auckland, everyone up.
So you heard the hooter there. So this is the final play of the third quarter here. And it's deflected into the netting. And that is number 3 for the Auckland men. It was a variation, a bunt through to Panchier, who swept it forward to a narrow right runner who deflected the ball into the net as we have a look at the replay. And that's Jared Panchia putting his body on the line, getting low in the circle around the spot, deflecting that ball from his brother into the netting, beating Joyce. And Mio Micris 3-1 up with 15 minutes left on the clock. After we predicted Harbour at half-time, with them having all the running in the first half. What do you make of this, and what do you expect in this fourth quarter, Chris?
Yeah, I tell you what, Ari, I think that third quarter from Auckland was very, very impressive. They really turned it on. They come out and said, right, we need to attack, we need to put the pressure on. And that last little attack from them, coming from out of defence into the attacking circle within sort of 3 or 4 seconds, to earn that penalty corner, and on the second attempt, putting it in the back of the net. They'll be pretty happy with that. So a 3-1 lead going into the third quarter, I think Auckland will be very happy with that, but they know that a storm is coming. We've talked about it before. I think today we're going to see it. There's going to be a goalkeeper removed. Harbour known for taking the keeper and having a crack.
That's right, Chris, we have talked about it. And you just have to think there'd be no one in the Auckland camp that would believe that this game is secured. You know, you're looking at the North Harbour team. Obviously, you've got Corey Bennett at the back leading the troops, and he's a real danger at PC time. But you look through the midfield, you know, you've got Shimmons, you've got Coughlin, you've got George Muir, the captain, and you just think this Harbour side is so dangerous. And 2 goals in 15 minutes is not a big lead, although it appears that way, as Auckland take the hit, and Jared Panchia down on the sideline. Deflection out from George Muir. We go back to Aaron Panchia, the skipper. So it's good from Auckland, nice and patient, just happy to recycle the ball. A wee overhead there from brother to brother. Aaron to Jared going over the sideline as Corey Bennett jumps on the ball in this left half. Sideline hit defensively. Mitch Hayde has assumed the centre-back role, Chris, which is a massive decision. I know you played a lot of hockey with Mitch growing up. Is that the deepest you've ever seen him on a hockey field, or what's the go here?
I was going to say, if there's one place you don't want Mitch Hayde, and that's at centre-back. So Harbour need to rectify that pretty quickly if they're looking to get themselves back into the game. And as they do that, we see the man himself, Mitch, running over to Dave Kassouf to get the call
here. Yeah, good ball, a bobbly ball put in there from the right flank. Very hard to defend those, and the Auckland defender getting a stick to it and deflecting the ball up into a North Harbour attacker. So a PC rightly awarded. And you'd have to think, Chris, 3-1 down, final quarter. What did you call him before? Chorosaurus on the field.
Yeah, we've got a slow clap just operating in and around the circle here. Chorosaurus really looking to step up.
You've got to give him a dig, don't you?
You do.
And a mistrap, Bennett on the ball, and it's a free hit awarded. A wasted opportunity to have to assume. Not sure if the injection took a bubble or just a straight mistrap, but the trap was played up. Mistrapped into the Auckland runner as Harbour gained possession. And they're forward through Muir. And we're going to the pocket, and it's a yellow. Gone to the pocket for the first time of the match. And Kinder has been sent to the bin for 5 minutes. And you'd have to think, Chris, now 11 on 10, North Harbour. This is the time, really, don't they? They need a strike in this 5-minute period, don't they?
See, this is where I'd like to see North Harbour take a bit of a risk and say, right, let's pull the goalkeeper.
And I see Dave Kassouf out on the sideline with a bib in hand, Chris. Do you think that could be the play here?
Here we go. He's got the... See, that's a really good play from Dave here. Now that they're going to be... Here we go. Richmond Lum runs on with the bib. Corey Bennett's going to put it on himself. the goalkeeper's off, so North Harbour have 11 field players. Auckland have 9 field players, obviously with the goalie as well, which makes 10. So a really good effort from North Harbour here is going to give them 5 minutes at least with 11 against 9. And then I'd assume if they haven't scored, they're just going to keep their goalkeeper off and pile on the pressure. So look for Harbour to really exert some pressure here as Corey Bennett gets himself a free hit. There's still a lot of game to be played, Ari, and I think from what I've seen during the week, we're in for a bit of a spectacle in this last 12 minutes and 50 seconds.
Look, you're dead right, Chris. We've seen both of the men's and women's side of the draw. Just fourth quarter goals. Obviously, Auckland winning in their semi-final with 2 late goals over Capital. We've seen it in the women's side as well. And it's this fourth period where the game really opens up. You know, there's a little bit of desperation comes into it. You know, people look to inject themselves and assert themselves more. And the focus shifts from defensive mindedness to attacking mindedness as Corey Bennett coughs up the ball to Crooks. Corey Bennett obviously in the bib, so he has full goalkeeping rights. So when the ball is in their defensive circle, he can use his body. Obviously, all the rules applying to the goalkeeper to him, so obviously he still must win the ball and not play the player and things like that. As Shimmons puts a ball into the circle to Lum. Shouts for a PC, not awarded. Harbour recover.
Great skills there by Daniel Harris. Looking to inject himself into the attack. Oh, that's a great ball and a great... Oh, it's hit the post. Called it early. I was going to say it was a great finish. North Harbour, as we expected, piling on the pressure here in the fourth quarter. No keeper, 11 on 9 with 1 in the bin. And we're looking at a penalty corner. No. Simon Taylor has said stick foul there. And Auckland relieve a little bit of pressure as we
look at the replay,
balls.
Chris. Fell straight to the man Capizzi on the spot. A great turn. And that's hit the right hand upright. And that's extremely unfortunate. Had that gone in, 3-2, still with a 2-player advantage, 10 minutes on the clock. You'd have to think there'd be an equalising goal, Chris, but the score remains 3-1 here in the men's NHL, 40 NHL final between Auckland and North Harbour. Auckland leading 3-1, just over 10 minutes left. Kinder in the bin for Auckland. He had a 5-minute yellow card, probably about halfway through that. And Corey Bennett in the bid for Harbour, taking their keeper off. As Cogland in the left flank, I think he's got a stick in the side of the face there. And Panchier wins possession. He'll look to clear. Machade on the ball. And he coughed it up, but thankfully the ref did him a favour, and Ben Radonovich, supposedly not 5 metres, but you'd have to say, Chris, a sloppy carry there from Hayde.
Yeah, surprising. He normally doesn't carry the ball that often, eh? He's more of a passing player, so interesting that he's changed his tactic late in this game. North Harbour continuing to pile on the pressure, and they need to. And here we go, they turn it over really simply here. As Daniel Harris works himself in, but can't quite get it, and George Miller lifts the ball. North Harbour kicking themselves here. They've had plenty of opportunities. They haven't just been able to find their way through what you could call quite a staunch Auckland defence.
Yeah, look, Chris, I've been really impressed with the Auckland attack. As we see, a golden chance for Auckland. Obviously no keeper in the goal. Corey Bennett's there to clean up. The man in the bib. And now it's Harbour back on the front foot as they transfer the play, and now it's Coughlin over halfway. Through to Lum, who controls the ball on the baseline. And he's found a foot, and a penalty call rewarded. That's great play there from Richmond Lum, winning the PC as we look at the replay. Didn't panic, controlled the ball, and he's put it straight into the foot there of the Auckland defender, Caden Hurry. And Harbour now, Chris, with another golden opportunity Last PC we saw a wee breakdown there with the injection in the trap. So the message here will be, let's get it out straight, let's trap it dead, and let Korosaurus try to do what he did in that the end of that second quarter.
And the slow clap from the North Harbour fans, dressed out in their maroon and black and white, really getting behind their team.
Paid with the injection, and it is Bennett, and he scores. I'm not sure it was quite in the corner, Chris. It went through Manchester, but they all count, and that is 3-2. Auckland keeping their lead, but Harbour picking one back as we see. They tidied up this injection and trap, and it's gone bottom middle straight through Manchester. Incredibly hard to save in the 5-hole. But Corey Bennett will take that. I believe they still have the one-man advantage, Chris. Or the two-man advantage, I should say, technically, with one man in the bin and the goalkeeper off. So this next minute and a half, 2 minutes, hugely crucial here to score this equaliser.
Yeah, look, the fans are on the edge of their seats, I'll tell you what. It's full drama, and that's what we want in an NHL final. 8 minutes 30 to go. Corey Bennett's not happy with the way that he was tackled, but North Harbour continue to put the pressure on as they go through James Coughlin to Warren Wild. North Harbour will be looking to get themselves another penalty corner. Corey Bennett, obviously electric from the top of the D. And they're really starting to find their way in this fourth quarter. Helped by the fact the goalkeeper's off and Auckland are down to 10 men. As we speak, down back to 11.
Here's Coughlin on the left flank. A dangerous ball put forward. And the Harbour men screaming for a penalty corner, but the foot was outside the circle. Corey Bennett on the ball. And there's some razzle-dazzle stuff there. Marcus Child through the legs, deemed to be dangerous, and George Muir will take a wee 5-metre free hit. Back to Hayde, who will crash ball, which you'd have to say was the head case option there from the ex-Canterbury player, Chris.
Yeah, we're starting.
And this is interesting, Chris. You want to talk us through what's happening down here on the Harbour defensive end?
Yeah, so they've decided to bring the goalkeeper back on with 7 minutes to go, just over 7 minutes, and 3-2 down on the scoreboard. Interesting decision here from Kasuf and the Harbour boys. I would have liked to see them continue, but as we speak, James Coughlin makes a turnover, they get the ball inside and they score a goal. The commentator's curse. What do we know? What do we know, Ari Barrow? North Harbour Wolves. What a game, what a team. All of a sudden, it's at 3-0. Don't listen to us, just watch the game.
And Joe Bartholomew down here on the sideline, straight out of his seat, subbing on. That's the quickest he's moved all week. And the Auckland men have just brought themselves into a huddle, 3-3, 7.5 to go. Look, they won't want to hold on here, Chris. They'll want to go out and score their fourth, you know. They don't want to. They'll know that Harbour do have the momentum at the moment, but they'll be wanting to win this in regulation time. So let's expect 7.5 minutes of fast, open, attacking hockey from both sides. Wolves with the tail up, and we're back to 11 on 11.
As Harbour again make an easy turnover. Auckland starting to really turn the ball over in key areas.
Harris out on the right, and it's cleared up well by the two Panchir boys. And they've turned the ball over, but Russo's won it back for Auckland, and it's a good thing he did there. They were in strife. As Kinder back on the field up the left flank. His time's up in the naughty chair, looking to assert himself in this last 7 minutes of the Ford NHL men's final.
I'm sure when Dave Kasuf watches this back on the replay, he's going to laugh when he hears the suggestion that they should have kept their keeper on. Obviously understood the game and where it was at, and that Harbour were putting some good pressure on, even going back to a goalkeeper and 10 field players, and they got the reward. So it's a fantastic effort from them to come back, especially in this final quarter with the game on the line, and now we're 6 minutes away from the end. The match evenly poised, but North Harbour with all the momentum. Well, we were in for a good finish.
And George Muir with the dart up the right. Well defended in the end by Aaron Panchia. Out for a long corner. George Muir on the ball. He's happy to go back. Muir again. Finds Warren Wild out on the right flank. Turns it over. And Marcus Child there just pretty calm, pretty level-headed, just winning a free hit. And you'd have to say, Chris, Harbour on the front foot at the moment. I'll tell you what, Chris, it's a bit of push and shove, a bit of how's your father down here on the left sideline. Cam Gibbons and Drum not over each other. We sort of how are you, and a wee shove. And the North Harbour forward, not happy with that. And he's been sent, has he, Chris? He receives a yellow. And I tell you what, North Harbour already had the tail up. But with a man sent to the bin with only 5:18 left, I presume it's a 5-minute yellow, Chris. So essentially he will be out for the rest of the match, bar 18 seconds. So pretty much for the rest of this Ford NHL men's final, Auckland will be with 10 men. And
as we look on the replay, bit of push and shove, and he's just opted to use the stick as a bit of a way to push the player away, and as he's just found out very quickly, you can't do that. So he's going to sit himself down, and North Harbour are going to apply some more pressure. Even though they've already got their tails up, this will just send it to the next level.
So we rejig to the Auckland formation, you presume, Chris, with Cam Gibbons, the man sent off. He's a defender for Auckland, so pulling a man back. Here's Marcus Child. Giving up possession, here's Muir.
Yeah, I think you'll find as that happened, Auckland subbed a striker for a defender, so they'll be looking to hold on as North Harbour just apply the pressure in this last 5 minutes of the game.
They want? And they've got Mitch the Kid on the ball, and very calmly he's just shuffled it onto Joe out on the right flank. Put in, hit a foot, and I tell you what, it's razzle dazzle. It's gone across the face and eventually cleared by Auckland. But another golden opportunity for Harbour. George Muir with possession, gives it back to Bartholomew. We'll see another crash ball here. And Auckland here. What do you think, Chris? You know, they've got a man in the bin, it's 3-3. Are they trying to win this game here, or are they trying to hold on and go to shootouts?
Yeah, I think you'll find Auckland are trying to hold on as much as they can, and North Harbour are going to press and play some attacking style to finish this game off. And I sense this game's got another goal in it. North Harbour are really turning it on.
It's Richmond Lum with some great work there on the left side, just outside the circle. And here's George Muir looking to assert himself, Chris, as the ball flies across the goal off Shimmons, and Lum with the wee swipe at it out for a 16-yard hit. Look, yeah, Chris, George Muir, obviously a key player. Where's the armband? He's looking to promote, to get on the ball as much as he can alongside sort of Coughlin and Bennett. Just how key are your big men, your key players in this sort of moment? In an NHL final, there's 3 minutes on the clock. It's 3-3. You know, you're versing your rival region. How vital are those key players?
Yeah, this is huge, and I think when you look at what both teams have got in terms of in goal, and Joyce and Manchester, both very good goalkeepers. So shootouts are going to be interesting if it gets to that. But with the one-man advantage, you think Harbour are going to continue to try and work that momentum, and they don't have long to do it. But they'll be wanting to, to see some of those key men, and look to Muir, look to Coughlin, look to Bennett and Bartholomew on the ball here, pink shoes and all. Get the ball away from Hayde, they say, as Coughlin gets the ball. And they're going to keep attacking for the next 2.5 minutes, I tell you what.
Ball in the circle, winning a penalty corner. Marcus Child not happy, thinks it hit him above the shin pad in the knee, which would be dangerous in a free hit out for the defence as we look at the replay. Does he have a case? I don't know, Chris. I don't know if I can pick that out. It looked right at the top of the shin pad, and I think just a wee flick push, you'd maybe say that was probably the right call. Marcus Child not happy about it though, as Harbour in the huddle, and you'd have to think, Chris, there's an obvious option here, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, look, I think they're going to go to Corey Bennett. Cometh the man, cometh the hour. Corosaurus. Marcus Child still debating the call. Mitch Hayde to inject.
And he's done it. Corey Bennett has found the back of the net. He went low right. It took a deflection up into the net. And North Harbour have brought it back from a 3-1 deficit and have gone up 4-3 with just over 2 minutes. We watched the replay. It was a low, hard flick, hitting the postman on the line and then up into the netting. And you'd have to say, Chris, that's pinpoint accuracy in a big moment. And what do you say, Chris? Big moments, then big players. And Corey Bennett has certainly stepped up there.
We've talked about it. The goalkeeper now off for Auckland. They'll apply the pressure. They've still got one in the bin, so we're playing 10 on 10 field players. Harbour have the luxury of a goalkeeper. Auckland are going to apply the pressure and Harbour just going to hold on. Mitch Hayde making his second tackle of the game late in the piece. We wanted excitement, we wanted goals, we wanted drama. The Ford NHL final has provided everything we asked for.
Auckland turning it over there. Harbour will be in no rush here to get on the ball as Crooksy goes and puts it on the line for the Harbour man. And Joe Bartholomew is going to get on the ball, and you'd think you'd just bomb this, wouldn't you, Chris? And no, he's done a wee drag push thing straight to the other team, which is interesting. Sort of more something you'd expect sort of Mitch Hayde probably to do. Probably wouldn't expect that from a big player like Joe. But it doesn't matter because I've turned it over. Got the ball at the right-hand flank, and they're looking to just hold on to position here, really. Awarded a free hit with just a little over 1 minute to go. Capizzi on the ball. Looking to hold it in the corner. No passing options available in the circle at all. So the Wolves here happy to keep it in the corner. And now they'll go open net. And they've hit the post. And they've scored. And it's... Was that Jerem or George Muir? Goldie, I don't know. But I tell you what, the Wolves are in a big huddle, and you'd have to say, Chris, 5-3 up, 1 minute to go. They've just won the Ford NHL. As we look at the replay, I tell you what, it's absolute scenes here at the National Hockey Stadium in Wellington. And what do you make of that, Chris? 3-1 down. 4 unanswered goals to now take the lead 5-3 with 59 seconds on the clock. What do you make of that, Chris?
The Wolves are howling, Ari. The Wolves are well and truly howling. I think, to be honest, they probably deserve that lead. They've played a tremendous fourth quarter. They were very good in the first half, and Auckland came back and fought very bravely. But as we see the desperation from Corey Bennett and just all across the pitch, I think they've been very, very good. They've been able to counter the attack that Auckland threw at them in that third quarter, and to be able to come back in that fourth quarter and do what they've done, it's a pretty impressive effort. So with 20 seconds to go and 5-3 up, you'd be pretty confident that the Harbour Wolves will come away with their first title since 2009. Looks as though the boys on the bench are celebrating. Harley Copper, the second goalkeeper, he's going crazy. Bartholomew's been given a ball and he's just going to milk like you wouldn't believe. Here he goes into the corner, him and Mitch Hayde. Ginger Ninda's in the corner, high fives. And I tell you what, Ari, I think they deserve to get into that huddle to celebrate, because today, this week, this year, they are the best of the best, your Ford NHL champions, the Tiger Turf North Harbour Wolves.
Absolutely, Chris, and look at them ecstatic with their work. As we look to this last goal here. No keeper in the net for Auckland. And George Muir will take that every day of the week. 5-3 up. Remember, folks, it was 3-1 at one point, and the Wolves with 4 unanswered goals there at the end to win this final of the Ford NHL 5-3 over Auckland. As we see the players exchange congratulations, and I tell you what, it was a hell of a final. Auckland, they played positively. They really brought the match to North Harbour and had the lead on 2 occasions, up 1-0, 2-1 and 3-1. But you've got to give credit where credit's due, and it was the North Harbour men who stuck to their processes and netted 4 goals to win this final 5-3. And a special day for Mitch Hayde there. Look at him, 100 caps for the Canterbury Cavaliers. Jumped ship, and he's picked up that elusive gold medal. And you'd have to say he deserved it. He was in at centre back there for a brief moment, which was an interesting tactic at best. As you see the Wolves howling as they do. And that is thoroughly deserved. As North Harbour celebrate, we'll take a quick break here and we'll be back with the presentation of the Challenge Shield. Your 2017 champions, the Ford NHL, the North Harbour Wolves.
See the joy on a number of the faces of the Harbour men. Pretty fantastic effort from them, coming back from a bit of a deficit and showing their true colours in that final quarter. Auckland boys will be disappointed, but they can hold their heads high. They put in a fantastic effort, and that momentum in that fourth quarter was a real key, I guess, to the game. And the North Harbour boys picking up their sticks, scattered across the turf. They'll enjoy this moment. 2009, the last time they held the Challenge Shield aloft, and there's a lot of maroon in the crowd, happy with that result and pretty pumped on the effort that they had. So a massive congratulations to them on an outstanding week. They have been one of the better teams through pool play, and when it came to the crunch, quarterfinals, semi and finals, they really showed their true colours, and George Muir absolutely ecstatic, carrying all the boys' sticks off, led the team inspirationally all week, and the accolades that they'll get as a team is justified in the way that they played, especially that final quarter. And Ari, we always talk about, you know, the key moments and key times, and in a fourth quarter when your back's against the wall, that's when the true, I guess, champion teams stand up and really take it to the opposition, and we saw that from a very, very, very well drilled North Harbour side.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. You know, you look at guys like Corey Bennett, you know, big moment, big player, stepping up with a couple of flicks there in that fourth quarter. You know, one bottom middle through Manchester, and then one put right in the corner. You know, 2 goals from him, you know, that's huge. You know, he took the pressure well. And then you got, you know, your skipper, George Muir, who you really notice in that fourth quarter, as much as possible, getting on the ball, taking long corners, looking to assert himself. And big Joe Bartholomew at the back. He had to sort of babysit Mitch Hayden at the back there a bit, but he did well. And then I think all around the park as well, goals. You know, you had guys like Richmond Lund, the youngster up front, as well as Jerem and Dan Harris as well, all with, you know, instrumental parts of the attacking play, and a team performance and a team win. Thoroughly deserved.
Yeah. And oh, look at Joe. I mean, they're zooming in on him. He's a character, and you know, we obviously have seen a bit of time with him being down in Christchurch now, and I think, you know, all across the board, these boys love to play for the team, and Dave and his crew have set themselves a pretty good team, a pretty good culture, and across the week they've been, you know, a stellar team, and today they showed that, and that's what you want to see in big games. You want teams to really step up and put their best foot forward. So it's awesome to see, and look, we've had 2, I think, scintillating finals. To see the amount of goals scored, the intensity played, the supporters loving every moment of it, edge of the seat sort of stuff, and that's what you want. You know, we've seen the calibre of players, Vantage Black Six scattered across all teams, and especially today on finals day. What a way to wrap up what has been, I think, a really good change to the 14HL, and the 2 best teams, men's and women's, ended up on top, and that's what you want in a tournament, isn't it, Ari?
That's exactly right. And I think, you know, for those who are watching, if you're fortunate enough to be down here at the National Hockey Stadium here in Wellington, or whether you're watching on our live coverage, you know, both finals just a great example with some massive sort of underlying hockey messages there. You know, we saw in the women's final for the K Cup, you know, Bailey's Midland scoring all their goals sort of in and around the goal. You know, great lessons for young attackers, you know, where to position yourself in the circle when you're looking at McCaw and whatnot. And then there with the North Harbour Wolves, well, there's a huge lesson in that with the never say die, never give up. Coming down from a 3-1 deficit to win 5-3 is huge. We're going to cross now to the coverage of the presentation.
The Just Hockey Top Goal Scorer Award, the Coach Cup in HR Male, Most Valuable Umpire, the Women's Male Shield, for the LeBron Silver and Gold Shield presentation. We'll also have the Shield presentation itself. The presenters of our second award, the Tournament Director, Chris Thornton, Volunteer Manager of Recruit, Brian Drake, Managing Director for the New World, Emma Skilling, Executive for the Stillman, Jerry Wilshire, Executive Director of Hockey, and Ian Francis, CEO of Hockey New Zealand. And now I invite the CEO of Hockey New Zealand to speak. Thank you very much, Kevin. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for our final North Harbour and Auckland. That's our early game. Zealand. I'd like to welcome you to the 2017 Ford NHL presentation. Some particular thank yous. I'd like to start with our tournament umpires and officials, as Gavin Hawke and his team. Thank you for your fantastic work this week. Thanks very much. To Wellington Hockey, Catherine Wilson, CEO of Wellington Hockey, and your team, thank you for delivering a fantastic event for us this week. Nothing's been too much of a problem, and we've had fantastic support from the Wellington Hockey and the Wellington Hockey community, so thank you. To our partners and naming rights partners, Ford New Zealand, thank you very much for your support of this event. To Australian funding partners of this event, also to Care, who are supporting our event, but also supporting the ball kids. The ball for there, can we have a round of applause for our ball kids for their great support. To the team, thank you so much for fantastic display of participating in the NHL. So thank you very much to our team. Lastly, to our spectators, for those who have travelled from around the country, but also the local community, thank you for your support of this event. Let's finish off from Hockey New Zealand. At the end of the year, in November, you will know that we're hosting the Women's World League event. The 8 best teams, so 8 best women's teams throughout the world will be participating on our shores from the 17th to the 26th of November. Please come along and support world-class hockey, world-class events. We'd love to have your support. Thank you very much, and I'll now hand back to Catherine. Thank you. Thank you. I'm now going to ask you, board guys, to take the line off the speaker. Thank you, Trevor. Wellington is very proud to host this tournament on behalf of New Zealand Hockey, and we thank New Zealand Hockey very much for giving Wellington this tournament and providing our local people with the opportunity to celebrate. Thank you all for coming along to watch the game. Officials, all the officials, such a good boys and girls, together with the team, the judges, and the other officials involved in the game, umpires, the victims, very bright crowd with submarine during the most beautiful times of the game. An observation I'd make is that this tournament, I really see the city people gathered around the 100 block in front of the goal. And out of that, there's a wonderful crowd of umpires, and also the superb execution of goals being scored. So I congratulate all the umpires and the players for that.
Pretty big. Sort of 7 out of 10.
We're here, still here. Celebrate now, celebrate hard, celebrate safely, and travel safely home also. Thank you all very much indeed. Kia ora. Thank you, Jared. We're now going to move on to the outside. We'll get with the quick bench half, which is half top umpire, which is by Kevin Hawke, the winner next quarter.
Just Hockey top goal scorer, presented by Brian Drake. Going to Samuel Lane from Christchurch, Canterbury Cavalier. 11 goals, I believe. Tournament MVP going to Aaron Panchier from Auckland.
year, North Harbour.
And the presentation of the Ramesh Patel Shield that covers under 21s, under 18s, and the National Hockey League, the 3 regional high performance tournaments, won this year by North Harbour.
We'll now move on to the medal presentation that we're going to do these simultaneously. And we'll run through the list. Bronze medal presented by Brian Drake, providing Kevin Code. And our gold medal will be presented by myself.
As we work through the medal presentation, the bronze medal, as we saw earlier in the day, to the Rico Capital Cobras. Silver medal presented to Auckland, and the gold medal presented to North Harbour.
Firstly, well done to the boys. I think it's in the post all week, and you played well in the final, so congratulations. Also, congratulations to the Capital Cobras. Well done, Brian. And to our boys, look, we had a hard week and we played a couple of scratchy games, but managed to get where we needed to be, and just didn't quite get in there, but look, we'll be better for it for the next couple of years. Just thanks to the umpires, I think managed the game well all week, and as always, tough situations, but we did well. And just thanks finally to Brian Smoky for hosting a great tournament. Everything went pretty smoothly, and even the weather held up, so it was a good one. Thanks.
Well spoken from Auckland captain Aaron Panchia. Now hear from the victorious North Harbour skipper George Muir.
Firstly, thanks to Wellington Hockey and Hockey and Bed, a very smooth tournament. Big shout out to the crowd, most games pretty good, and to the final, congratulations to the Capital boys for number strong. Harry and Auckland, I know you guys are excited right now, but congratulations on the tournament. It was a great tournament from you guys, and a very hard one, so I hope it's fine. To all the officials, the umpires especially, Simon and Dave, it was a great fun, so thank you very much. Our guys, very well there, so I can do this from Harbour. It's been a long time coming. Big shout out to Dave and the different crew. It's about time to do it back home, so it's been a long campaign. Thanks, guys.
Well spoken by George Muir as he wipes his hands and warms them up before he's presented with the mighty Challenge Shield. Fantastic effort from the North Harbour men and thoroughly deserved.
Just to finish off, I'd just like to acknowledge the One Team Hockey team for putting a huge amount of work to make this tournament come together, and also to thank Hockey New Zealand for sitting their team down and funding such a professional event. Thanks very much for attending. Please come behind stage for a bit. Well, just now for the Challenge Shield, so I think it's going to please come forward.
The moment North Harbour have been waiting for. Presentation of the Challenge Shield. There we have it, Ari. Fantastic effort from the Tiger Turf North Harbour men this year's 14HL. I think we all can say that the best team has come out on top, and the Harbour boys will enjoy themselves tonight. Thanks to everyone who's been watching. Congratulations to everyone back on the North Shore of Auckland. Enjoy the moment, enjoy everything that comes with the boys pulling through. Congratulations to the Baileys Midlands women. Fantastic effort, and those two teams deservedly running out winners of the Ford NHL for 2017. It's been a pleasure. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next year.
Auckland, New Zealand. Tāmaki Makaurau, Aotearoa. A vibrant cosmopolitan city of 1.5 million people. Set upon a natural playground of 48 volcanic cones. Nestled between two dramatic coastlines. This November, we welcome the world. The Hockey World League Final.
To play those games against the top teams in the world, I think that's what we're really excited about.
It's nice that they're coming to our hometown now and we get to play them here.
Argentina are always fiery. They've got the skill and they've got the potential to rip open any team.
They'll be a good defensive side and they'll just pop one in at the last minute and make you really work for a win.
It'll be a little bit different having England rather than GB.
They're on the up as well. Obviously, they're the gold medalists from last year. Another European side who know how to play hockey. They pass the ball well, they play a good team game, and they've got a few dangerous strikers up front.
Korea, always a really challenging side. Their basic skills are always really high, and the Dutch, they're like the pinnacle of world hockey. For the crowd, that's amazing to watch. For us, it's actually pretty hard to deal with. The USA have just done really well, actually. They won their World League semi-final, and we know that they're a really fit and physical team.
And the home team, the Vantage Blacksticks.
Obviously, we'll have lots of our own fans there, but to have like other people come over as well, I think that's really awesome.
Our turf,
our time. Our turf, our time.
The Hockey World League Final, November 17 to 26, Auckland, New Zealand. Tickets are on sale now from ticketek.co.nz.